All right, I don't know the best way to do this, but we will have full lock, full lock. Move the camera down. There we go. Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. I just filmed this whole video and I forgot to turn on my mic. So we're doing it a second time, but maybe it'll be a little faster. So it's my 2024 Toyota Tacoma with the iForce Max. This is a TRD Offroad, basically bone stock, no suspension modifications whatsoever. I will be doing a lot more videos on this truck, so if you're interested in that, get subscribed to the channel. Lots more to come. This video I'll pretty much cut right to the chase for why you clicked it. 37s, Tacoma, no lift. How is it? How did I do it? And I'll get into that. At the end of the video, I'll talk a little bit about some other stuff, and then future videos, I'll kind of give like a separate update on the Tacoma. But this video, 37, 1250. These are Toyo Open Country MT, so pretty much a true 37-inch tire on Relations race wheels. These are 17 by 8 with plus 12 offset. I did get them custom coated, powder coated gold, but other than that, totally stock. So why did I do it? I just felt like experimenting. There was a few other videos on YouTube about people saying 37s fit, but basically they couldn't turn because they didn't want to trim or anything. So I thought I couldn't find anyone running 37s, like actually running 37s on stock suspension, making it work. This, I can turn full lock, completely flat. Going forward, I think I can go full lock in reverse, turning left, but in right, I rub a little bit. Now, if you're a little bit flexed out at all, you will still rub. I'll talk about that more later in the video, but flat ground, full lock, no rub. Surprising. How does it drive? It drives very good. Again, I do have the hybrid motor, so that kicks in a little bit of extra power, but I don't think I need gears. 8-speed transmission, great. I had a 2016, I had a 3rd gen Tacoma on 35s with 529s. Night and day difference. Way, 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 way better. Another question, I guess, fuel economy. So, I don't have a lot of miles on this truck. I have 600 miles on this truck. So the first 300 miles, conveniently, were bone stock. The next 300 miles were like this setup. So I live in the mountains of Colorado. My driving is not city, it's not highway, it's probably the worst mileage I can get. Bone stock truck, I was getting 18 miles per gallon. I reset the average, and up to right now, I'm getting 15.5 miles per gallon with this setup right here on 37s. So I'm probably getting a little better than that. I'm probably getting like 17 miles per gallon. So I was getting 18 before and probably 17 if you factor in the size difference, and I'm actually going more distance on 37s. Doesn't seem right to me. I'll have more data later. I am going to do a full build on this truck though. So bumpers, full rack, roof rack, like full Overland build. So it'll get heavier. The mileage will get worse. But right now anyway, my experience on, again, 300 miles bone stock, 300 miles like this setup, I'm getting 15.5 on the computer. So probably closer to 17. So 18 stock, close to 17 like this. Again, doesn't make sense to me, but that's what I'm getting. And then let's kind of get into some stuff, get into some details that you will care about. I'll talk about, so the only other things done, Diamondback HD bed cover, and the Low Pro, these are launching this week, are upTOP bed bars, which are pretty sick. More on that later. So it's sitting, it should be sitting, it's got a little bit of rake. This is just factory rake. Again, factory TRD Offroad suspension. Up front, had to do some trimming. In the rear, don't really need to do much trimming. Definitely not for just like on pavement driving, but I'll show you in a second. This will flex up almost perfectly up into there. If I had a plus 25 offset, it'd probably be even better. Rubs a little bit here, rubs a little bit here. Now again, 37 1250, 17 by 8-inch wheels with a plus 12 offset. It is a pretty aggressive stance. If you had a plus 25 or plus 35, you would rub less, you would shoot up less stuff on the side. It'd be a more functional offset overall. Now, if you went to 0, that would come out even more and you'd be crazy. If you go like -12, that's way out there. This is a very, very aggressive stance, probably too aggressive for most people. I think it looks pretty cool though. So the more aggressive you get, the further your tires stick out, the more you're gonna rub. Because when you get out, the swing becomes greater. So the arc of your turning becomes greater. The more inset your tires are, basically the more positive your offset is, the less you're gonna rub, for the most part. So, running for tacos, mounted and balanced my tires. Again, these are true bead locks. The Relations Race Wheels RS2Hs. Hybrid stands for you can run them with or without a bead lock. Mine do have bead locks on there. They were mounting them and I went to pick them up. I'm getting suspension. I have a crazy Icon Vehicle Dynamics suspension that I'm putting on probably in a couple weeks, but I wanted to do this as an experiment. Can it be done? Yeah, it can. So what we did, if you know anything about the 4th gens now, they have some crash protection right here. 2 bolts, and then I think 3 bolts for the other one. 2 brackets come off literally in less than a minute. We got these brackets that are right behind. They just come out with 3 bolts. There's one more bracket up here that looks like it's just 2 bolts, and that'll clear up a bunch of space. That clearances up all of this space. Now, you could do, I haven't seen anyone do body mount chops. You could do a body mount chop, and that would clear up like 2 or 3 more inches. Pretty insane. So right now, right here is the first spot that'll rub. So you could even hack that piece off very easily without even doing a body mount chop and get a little bit more, but I'll come close to rubbing there and there at the same time, but that is technically the first area you'll rub. I didn't remove anything in the front, just trim. We're gonna try there. Now, if you wanna copy my trim, there's that bolt right there. And then I trimmed basically right at the top of here is where we started the trim. Keith trimmed the back. I marked it out with masking tape. Keith at Running for Tacos. I trimmed the front while he was kind of grinding the back. We knocked all the trimming out in like an hour, and that's from just my first guess at where we should trim, and it worked out pretty well. So here to right about this corner, and then if you can see, there's a little bolt in there. We ran it kind of down that line. So that's just for your reference. If you want to do this and you're local to Denver, Running for Tacos could take care of you. Now this side, kind of same deal. There's this little part here. I just trimmed at the angle that I thought relevant. You can see I trimmed to about in line with that piece in there. This was metal, so I did touch it up with paint. And that was it. Didn't have to remove the back brackets or anything. I kind of tucked the felt up in there. I could do a little better job because the felt on the other side actually rubs just a little bit here. But other than that, nothing rubs in the front. In the back, I pinned the fender liner. Let's see if you can see. It's kind of dark in here. But I just kind of pinned it back with that little bolt right there to the plastic and got it out of the way. Yeah. And that's really all that's involved. Again, flat pavement works. You get a little bit flexed out, you'll get a little bit of rub, but still very surprising. Now let me full lock and just show you. So into full lock and locked out the steering wheel. So this is as far as it'll go. So you can see that's the clearance before I get to anything. Really can fit basically a full hand up in there. That bolt is the closest thing. And then here where you're kind of touching the felt liner, which you can just kind of pin back a little better than I did. And then here, you can actually see I'm a little bit on a slope, but this lug is just touching that right there. But otherwise, that's the clearance to the body. And then here at not full lock, just to see the fender clearance, that's what you got there when turned. And then in the rear, that's what you got. Now let's go flex it out in the yard. All right, so real quick, just flexing out at this spot. It doesn't look like it, but this tire is fully off the ground, just kind of touching some grass there though. So this is the full tuck. This is with the sway bar still connected. So I do have the sway bar disconnect, so I'll do that in a second. But here's the tire, the rear tire, kind of full tuck in there. It does rub a little bit right here. Looks like it stops rubbing about right there and rubs this little nub. In the rear, there's actually less rub. It's actually not currently touching anything. It's like just grazing there. Nothing to see on that side. If we had more weight on the front, you know, an RTI ramp that we backed up or something, you'd obviously get a little more stuff here. But right now, again, with the rear tire off the ground, we're not touching here. So let me disconnect the sway bar. All right, that little sign there's the sway bar disconnect. So we'll try the same flexion, see if we get a little higher. All right, so I was able to get a little higher. My tire did turn a bit. So I went until we started stuffing into the fender here. We still have clearance over here, albeit not much. So again, if you turn and flex, you're obviously gonna rub, but this is with the front tire kind of fully stuffed. Again, I got to the point where a rear tire was off the ground, but we were able to stuff the front a little more. Pretty obvious with the sway bar disconnected that'll happen. We're just flexed out a little more in general. We got this tire that's tucked even further up under that lip there. So we're definitely rubbing right in there. And the front and the rear about the same. But that's that. How's it drive? I don't think it needs gears. I had a 3rd gen 2016 Toyota Tacoma on 35-inch tires, full armor, but 529s. This drives 500,000 times better. Like, I don't think I'll need gears with it. It's been fantastic. So yeah, I think that is about that. Appreciate you watching. Feel free to ask questions down below. I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge. If you're curious about the build, again, get subscribed. There will be many, many more videos on it. Follow me on Instagram, Last Line of Defense, all one word. Plenty of cool photos on it. All right, well, forgot to film an outro earlier, really, and say goodbye. But thanks for watching the video. Hope it was helpful and informative for you. Again, get subscribed if you're new here. Leave a comment down below. I will be outlining much, much more on this truck as we get it built out. So, appreciate your time. Take care.